I'm happy to go as usual.
Okay, good for you, Jill. This group needs kick-starting.
I'll just say what I have to say, and everyone else can warm up a bit.
Okay. You're disappearing a lot, I have to say.
Hey?
You're disappearing a lot.
Yes, ectoplasm, according to Ray.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Yeah.
actually received today some material for green screens, which will stop this happening.
Oh, okay.
It's outside airing. It's COVID off at the moment. Okay, it's in quarantine in the garden. Yeah, so the thing that always comes up for me is gratitude about joy and life. I then end up in an anxiety spiral.
Right.
So I then go, yeah, we're all reliant on these things, and ow, like the cat that's biting my fingers.
Yeah.
It's very fragile, and I could die any minute, and oh my god, I could die right now, and that's all. And then that's it. I'm off. The brain is then, completely gone down the rabbit hole at that point. So I get the gratitude about. I mean, I love everything, all creatures and insects, and even cats that bite my fingers. But I can't. I find that difficult. The impermanence thing. It doesn't bring yet. I haven't got it to the point where it brings me joy.
Okay. Impermanence. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I mean, that's there anyway, isn't it? So, I have to wonder, thinking about why it's triggered by thinking about the interdependence.
Well, the interdependence is fine. It's when you get to the interdependence is fine. It's I start thinking about impermanence, and you could die any minute, and
yeah,
and then that's it.
Well, true.
Misery,
Okay.
Anxiety, pulse goes up, It's like
yeah, right. I mean, actually, meditation on death and impermanence is a very important part of overcoming anxiety.
Allegedly, yeah.
So I'm just trying to think about what might be the key to causing it to have that kind of effect rather than the opposite. I mean, I'm sure there's all the stories of people who've had terminal diagnosis and their life has turned around in a very positive way.
Yeah, but I mean, I've had nearly been killed a few times. I'm not that I've been injured, but I've had those moments. But it hasn't. It's just made me more anxious, not less.
Yeah, maybe if you actually got a terminal diagnosis, it would have the other effect.
No, thank goodness, touch wood, no. We're all terminal. We're all going to die. But
yes, that's true.
I have had, the
thing is, Jill, that the effect that it has if it's working properly is that it brings you into this moment. Because anxiety is always about an imaginary future.
Yeah.
That future in which these terrible things are going to happen is not real in any sense at all. The only thing that's real is this present moment, actually. Think about it. So the thing about it's like, if we realize it, yes, okay, I'm going to die, but I'm alive now. Yeah. Now is the only time I can, if I'm worried about dying, it's because I think I might lose something. But I can only experience that thing that I don't want to lose now.
Well, intellectually, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Well, yes, yes. I mean, I don't know that I've got a magic formula that will tell you how to bring your awareness into the present moment and relate your life to that. But that is what it will.
It's a bit like the people
solve the anxiety.
Yeah, so I guess it's just a matter of time. It's a bit like those people who say, let it go.
Gone underwater there again.
You unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm going to have to answer this call.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay, so you had something on the chat from Zoelia, I think, on the phone. So I'll read it out. I kind of felt sympathy for anyone I've been brusque with as I wanted to pursue my individualistic goals getting into Oxford. I did, but graduating from Oxford was a bit of an empty accomplishment. Where do I go from here? Okay, well, that's certainly a useful piece of learning, isn't it? Because you had that kind of idea of this is something that I want out of life, and you got it, and then you realize that that wasn't quite the answer. So already you're a little bit nearer to the answer, right? So you know you by process of elimination, it wasn't that. No doubt it was of some value, but in terms of, you know, this learning that we all need to do, that I spent quite a bit of time on at the early part of the course, of it's an ongoing inquiry. What is it that I really want from life? What is really going to make my life meaningful? So when we find something that we thought was that, and it turns out not to be, then we have moved towards that. Yeah. Now we might not at that point immediately know what it is, but at least we're going to be looking in a different area, in a different place. It is actually useful. Then again, that answer comes, it doesn't come by a mechanical process, right? There isn't some scripted formula that I can definitely get to the answer. What is what gives meaning to my life? Of course, the Buddhist teachings, you know, especially in this tradition, I think, in the Lam Rim, which is the form of Buddhist teaching that this course is meant to be based on, not all that closely, perhaps, but that's the idea. There's lots of you know, good teaching about the answer to that question, and what does make life truly meaningful. But everyone has to find their own answer, and because it's like that, there isn't any kind of quick and easy way. It's an inquiry that we must continue until we find it. So I'm sorry not to have a ready answer, but I you know, one way is that we go where we think the answer is, and it probably won't be exactly right, but it will be one step closer each time that we follow our intuition that is telling us, maybe it's over here. Try that. Might not be the right answer, but it will, in one way or another, it will take you closer. Either it'll be completely wrong, then you have more information, or it'll be a bit closer to where you want to be. Yes, very good, Aurelia. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, Karthik.
I really enjoyed that meditation. Thank you very much, David. It was really good, actually. I mean, in terms of just making me aware of, so I think there was a point where I was just thinking about, I'm going to be moving somewhere in a couple of months just to start work and stuff. And I was thinking about, you know, like, I mean, simple things that really mean so much in terms of interdependence, like, you know, the chair I'm sitting on, the laptop I'm using, the phone, the clock. I mean, everything around me, you know, people have worked on it and people have come up with the idea.
Wow.
And even just moving into a place like
amazing, isn't it, when you think about it? It really is.
It's incredible. Yeah, like absolutely. And yeah, so, I mean, I was just thinking about like the institutions that led up to me getting to work. I mean, there was just like a little gratitude trip, literally, like, you know, it was just really incredible. So yeah, I think you had a really great way of guiding just, you know, people. Yeah. So it was very nice, actually. And I think we don't often think about it and it's just great to have that structured approach and to practice it time and time again, I guess, will be the most useful thing for coming back to the present moment, I think, for all of us, you know, because we can easily obviously talk about the fact that we know the concepts, but I'm definitely that place where I'm like, okay, I've heard of the concepts, I've worked with them, but really it's the practice that matters most. And I think coming back to the present moment, requires that practice every day, and yeah, that's where I'm at, and I'm really just working with it, but far from actually, getting anywhere. But yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, that's spot on the button there, Karthik, because I was going to say that what I want to do now is like when I'm kind of introduce these meditations each week, is my recommendation is to actually do that meditation every day. So I did make that, well, we had 2 last week, and I said you can choose either, but do 1 each day. But yes, so I want to kind of offer that opportunity to do some kind of consistent practice as we go through the next few weeks. And that one is obviously, it's an extremely important meditation. I often lead a meditation this way. The traditional Tibetan Buddhist meditation would be thinking of all sentient beings as having been your mother. And I think this interdependence in the way that I presented it is maybe more suitable for, for Westerners, contemporary Western people than the everyone's been my mother. It presents a little bit of a barrier because it's not part of our cultural beliefs, whereas there's no kind of assumptions like that made here. We all know that all of those things are true, the ways in which we do depend on all of those beings, it's quite clear. And it's also very connected to the philosophical, the wisdom teachings, which, we will come to later on, but it's, in that way, it's a very fundamental meditation. So I do encourage you, I'm going to suggest do it every day this week, but I do encourage you to make it a regular part of your practice. Absolutely. And as you say, practice is the key. Yeah. Thank you. Take one more maybe, if there's anyone. Yeah, Stuart, yeah.
I like the reference. I got a very strong visual when you were mentioning the mirror of awareness.
Okay.
I really like those words. So thank you.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think we'll move on. Unless anybody's burning. No. Okay. We'll move on.